Biomechanics is a scientific study involved with the internal and external forces acting upon the human body and the effects produced by these forces. Functional anatomy is the study of muscles and bones in the human body and how they affect movement. These two principles can be linked together to determine inefficiencies and lack of technical abilities in my volleyball serve. A volleyball serve is a specialized movement sequence and can be used as a tool against the opposition. The body and movement concepts that are important in order to perform a successful serve are quality of movement and relationships. In a volleyball serve, quality of movement is used for force development, accuracy, and consistency, which is essential to utilize the serve to the best of its ability. Relationships are also used by interacting with objects, the ball and the net, players on your team and your opponents, as the way in which you are in contact with the ball will impact your serve. By analysing biomechanic principles and functional anatomy concepts within my volleyball serve, I have corrected it to become more consistent, efficient, and effective. Through this analysis, comparison to expert serves, and the implication of the biomechanical principles of summation of forces, stability, and projectile motion, my serve has become more efficient. Within the preparation phase of my volleyball serve, I was not able to achieve a positive outcome. However, through the use of summation of forces, I have increased the force produced. Summation of forces is the sequential combination of force produced by muscles in the human body which act together to maximize force production. Within the preparation phase of a volleyball serve, the agonist muscles are the pectoralis major and minor, anterior, posterior, and medial deltoids, latissimus dorsi, gluteus maximus, quadricep muscles, and hamstring muscles. The concept of sequential summation of forces is that the strongest and lowest muscles around the center of gravity move first, followed by weaker, lighter, and faster muscles such as the wrist flexors. As seen, this was an area that was lacking in my serve through my inability to use my quadricep, gluteus maximus, and gastrocnemius muscles in the initial part of the preparation phase. As shown, I did lower my center of gravity slightly by using the hinge joint between my femur and tibia. However, as I transferred this power too early, the force becomes unusable. As seen in this expert volleyball serve, she has used sequential summation of forces by stepping at the same time as her ball toss. This allows her to transfer the force and momentum from her gluteus maximus, hamstring muscles, and quadricep muscles through timing and order. Timing and order are a crucial element in sequential summation of forces, and when done correctly can greatly increase the force and velocity of a volleyball serve. It was also clear that I have not utilized the concept of impulse through summation of forces. The impulse of an object is the measurable change in the quantity of momentum over time. As there was a lack of flexion through my hinge joint at the wrist, I was unable to apply full force onto the ball due to the lack of time and contact with it. This is identified by the formula for impulse. Impulse equals force times time. As my wrist extensor muscles do not undergo eccentric contractions, the time in which my hand is in contact with the ball decreases, meaning less impulse. This means that there will be less acceleration of the ball and may not be an effective serve. This can be linked to Newton's second law of motion of acceleration. When a force acts on an object, the acceleration experienced by the object is proportional to the size of the force and takes place in the direction in which the force acts. This is effective in a volleyball serve, as the amount of force applied to the ball is proportional to the acceleration of the ball. As seen in the formula, force equals mass times acceleration. I have corrected my serve by timing my step into the ball to be at the same time as the ball toss and increasing the impulse by following through with my wrist. The second biomechanical principle within the preparation phase that I've used to better my volleyball serve is stability and balance. In a volleyball serve, static balance is used to create a large base of support which controls the internal and external factors that could affect the outcome of a serve. In my serve, I have a good base of support in the ball toss phase. However, when I move into the preparation phase and execution phase, my base of support becomes narrower and therefore less stable. This is seen here, as my base of support is extremely narrow when I make contact with the ball. In volleyball, a long stance is needed as it allows for us to control our state of equilibrium better and increase our back to front stability. Now my base is longer, my line of gravity now travels from my rectus abdominals and through to in between my feet. Line of gravity is represented by drawing a line from your center of gravity to the ground. By comparing my serve to that of an expert, it is seen that she has a much longer base of support. This allows her to have a better balance as her line of gravity falls inside her base of support. I improve my serve by lengthening my base of support by placing my right leg back so that my ball and socket joint between my pelvis and the femur undergo extension. This improves my serve as now I can create more force by transferring momentum easier, and implementing this has given me a greater opportunity to achieve the objectives of a serve. The last biomechanical principle that I've utilized to improve my volleyball serve is projectile motion within the execution phase. Projectile motion is a term used to describe the movement of any object that has been thrown or hit into the air. There are three factors of projectile motion, however the one which is lacking in my serve is the height of release. When my hand, made up of gliding and ellipsoid joints connecting to the phalanges, makes contact with the ball through flexion at the wrist joint, I do not apply enough vertical force to achieve a positive outcome of a serve. As seen in these videos, the angle in which the ball leaves my hand is substantially less than that of the expert. As this expert is 195 centimeters tall and I am only 170 meters tall, they will have a greater height of release and therefore angle of release, meaning my angle of release should be greater. This shows that even though enough force may be produced, I was utilizing it horizontally and not vertically. This was clearly a major factor impacting my serve, as when amended, I was able to complete the serve. To help with this, I've extended the lever at my arm, as this will mean less vertical force is needed to serve. Levers in the human body are made up of bones and muscles and are used in sport to help athletes produce force. The volleyball serve is a third-class lever, with the ball and socket joint in the shoulder being the fulcrum and the load being the ball. The force applied to the ball can be increased by lengthening the lever, so taller players have a slight advantage when it comes to generating the applied force to the ball. As I am not a tall player, by increasing the angle of which my humerus and radius bones, I have lengthened my lever in my arm, and therefore I can now hit the ball higher, which can lead to having less vertical force needed and more power to achieve a serve. By implementing these biomechanical strategies into my serve, I have improved in my abilities to deliver a serve. I'm now able to serve over the net and submit enough power. However, my serve lacks consistency and accuracy. This can be improved with practice over time and further developing and refining my skills. I'm also very limited in my serve, as I can only execute a standing serve, and as I am not very accurate, my serve becomes extremely predictable. This allows for my opponents to easily guess the space where the ball will land. If I was to further my abilities of a volleyball's standing serve, I could work on my accuracy and placing the ball in space on the court. To summarize, I believe that analyzing my volleyball serve has given me a better understanding of the phases, biomechanical principles, and functional anatomy of a serve. I believe that with practice I will have a more efficient and effective serve.